Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today's video, we're going to talk about something I wanted to talk about for a while. I had a special video planned for, I was trying to bring Big T-Dog onto the channel, but he had too much things going on. And unfortunately, I don't know when I'm probably bring him back on the channel. It's just a lot of things going on with him personally. So, I'm not going to force anybody to be on the channel if they don't want to be on the channel. And like I say, he just got too much things going on personally. So until he gets better, he won't be on the channel. So which is fine. Also, I mean, I always wanted to do my channel personally. I never had thoughts of bringing anybody else onto the channel. So the fact that he was on the channel, I highly appreciate it. That he was on the channel, he was giving his thoughts, and you know anyways, let's just get on to the actual video. So what this video is about, I kind of teased it in my last video. I was talking about how MLB The Show 20 is coming out, and I had my ups and downs with the series. So I was thinking about what a way, because I was thinking about just completely stop buying the series. And so I've been playing MLB The Show all the way going back all the way to 2014. Um, and I've been playing it ever since I bought it. It's a year-round game. So this game gets released every year. So I buy the game every year, expecting it to be different. The game has vastly improved. I say 2016 was probably the best game, not graphically, but like the gameplay wise, it was the best game. The mechanics were perfect. The only thing that was wrong with 2016, I believe it's 2016, was the bunting cheese that they had, but everything else was okay with the game. And people still play 2016 because like I said, it was a really good game. But more recently with 2019, last year's game, the game was pretty good. There was a lot of issues at launch, but then towards the end of the year, it started to get better. I still had problems with a lot of problems. So I wrote down five big major issues that I wanted to talk about going into 2020 to make me purchase the game. Now, if I were to see huge differences going into it, because they still haven't did their gameplay reveal yet, and normally what Sony San Diego is the studio that makes MLB The Show. So normally what they do is they stream. They show they have streams like probably every week. I think it was every week or every 2 weeks. I'm not sure. I forgot, but I think it's every week, and they show off what's new. So like they'll go into Pacific mode, say Diamond Dynasty mode. Diamond Dynasty is a mode where you create your own team. You get cards, and so some of those cards could be current players, legends, um, flashbacks, which is like a player who had a good year that year. So it's that type of mode. So they'll talk about like what's coming out, what's the new. They'll reveal a new card or legend at the end of the stream, but mostly they will talk about what's new with the specific mode that they're streaming. So if I could see probably most of what I put down, most of the issues that they fixed, as some of these are kind of like minor issues, and some of them are kind of like improving already. So that's definite. But this is my list. So like I said, my list might be different from somebody else's list who plays MLB The Show. I know there's a lot of like MLB The Show streamers out there, and a lot of them I disagree with. A lot of them I agree with. There was I don't want to call out anybody on Pacific, but there was a lot of streamers who, and this is no knock to any of them, but they had a Pacific mode called MLB Content Creators. I forgot the name of the mode, but it was five. I believe it was 5 or 6 content creators where they had the Pacific mode. They had their own players in the game, and they had Pacific missions to play with their creative player. And I felt like Sunny San Diego shouldn't did that. Um, but I mean, it was probably. I mean, if you ask those streamers, they'll 100% disagree with me on that. But I still think that they could have used that. They could have used that all that time they worked on that mode, and they could have used it for something like their storyline mode, where it came out in the beginning of the season, and it was supposed to be like they had like for instance example, they had a Babe Ruth missions, and you play as Babe Ruth from not from the start of his career, but you play in certain big situations that Babe Ruth did, and they had that and like a video to go with it, but then they got away from that, so it was like a one time thing, and then that was it. And I kind of wanted them to stick with it because I thought it was pretty cool that they did that. Ken Griffey Jr. had one, Bryce Harper, the Chicago Cubs winning the World Series. So that was a cool little program that they had, but they instantly dropped it for some reason. I don't know why, but I would prefer them to stick with that instead of doing this content creators. I forget the mode, and I truly apologize on the mode. But anyways, that was like for one example. But unfortunately, I didn't put that on the list, so I do have a lot of things that I went down, and I set in the modes that I play. So there's gonna be modes that other people play that I don't. So I'm gonna leave that for them if they whoever content creator or whatever wants to talk about it in their video, not me, because like I said, like if I for instance if I don't want to talk about online franchise because I don't play online franchise or franchise period. So I wouldn't give my thoughts on that. But that is one of the things that I put down is give the people what they want. People want the online franchise. I think Sony San Diego should give the people what they want. And I know people like you should see how many people like constantly every year advocating for this online franchise mode. So hopefully Sony San Diego could do that. But yeah, get the people what they want. Now the big news before I even get started, I'm going down the list, was the Astros scandal, and you guys know I had to talk about it because like I said, I'm a huge baseball fan. You guys should know that if you guys watch my podcast videos. But if you guys didn't know, the Houston Astros was caught cheating. Um, and a lot of people were advocating for their title to get stripped. Now, if you don't know what they were cheating on, so what they were doing, they were banging on cans. They were stealing signals, so they were stealing like certain signs that their opposing team would do. So if like there's a curveball coming, you get a certain sign or whatever, and some of the Astros players were cheating, so they would know what that sign was, and so they'll go bang on a dugout if probably 2 times. Boom, boom. A curveball's coming, so they were trying to take advantage of that. So eventually, they found out they were doing that during I believe, the 2017 World Series, and so people were advocating for their title to get stripped. I know the Houston Astros manager AJ Hinch got fired. Alex Cora from Boston Red Sox, who did win a championship, got fired also. I know they're investigating whether he cheated with I believe the 2018 World Series with the Boston Red Sox. And then the Mets manager who had just got hired, Carlos Beltran, which growing up as a kid, I loved Carlos Beltran because he was Puerto Rican. I'm Puerto Rican, so I loved him growing up as a kid. But he was also he stepped down because he was actually involved in the scandal. And there was a couple players, like there's this infamous scene where Altuve just hit a home run off of Aroldis Chapman, and he's rounding third, and he's telling the players waiting for him because I believe is a walk-off home run. Walk-off is he hits the home run, the game's over. So he's like holding his chest, because normally what players do, they celebrate, they rip open your jersey, take off your helmet, and they pound you on the head celebrating. So he was telling uh, the players when he was running third base, don't rip my shirt off, but he said in Spanish. So people confused la camisa for I got a piece on. So it was kind of like a lot of people were advocating that he said I got a piece on, which means he got like a buzzer, because they were saying that you get that they were wearing buzzers or whatever. But MLB investigated it and found out that that wasn't true. So they say. So nothing will go with that. But everything is done. Another person got caught in the news was Jessica Mendoza, who not specifically, this is a word for word, but she was standing up. I mean, she was standing up, I guess, for the accusers. I mean, not for the accusers, the victims, because or whatever. Is it victims? Yeah, I believe victims. I don't know how to say it, but anyways, guys, just cancel that I said that. But anyways, Mendoza was said players, and this isn't word for word. It was how I put it down. It was like players should keep things to themselves and not throw anyone under the bus. She was referring to a pitcher named Mike Fiers. He was a Detroit Tigers pitcher. He got traded over to the Houston Astros. He's the one that called everybody called out the Houston Astros and made everybody know that, hey, yeah, the Houston Astros was cheating or whatever. So, and then Jessica Mendoza, who is an MLB reporter, she is on ESPN. You probably heard her in a few games talking with Matt Van Scourgen and Alex Rodriguez, and she's been known to sing things in the past. So a lot of people dislike her a lot. So that was another thing that she said that kind of triggered a lot of people, and I was pretty triggered from that too, because I'm not a huge fan of Mendoza. I don't really care, but the fact that she's telling like she went out and said like, hey, players shouldn't tell on other players to keep it, don't throw other players under the bus. I think that's completely wrong on her part. Um, I think players, if they are considered cheating, they should speak up. If you catch a player, and this is not saying players do, but if you catch a player taking steroids, and if you see it for yourself, you should speak up. That's all I'm saying, and that's, you know. But anyways, I don't want to get highly into that. This video is about MLB The Show 20. So I'm gonna start off with Diamond Dynasty mode. There was a few things, a lot of things most people won't agree with, but a lot of things that I personally want Sony San Diego to fix. And like I said, this is my list of why I should purchase MLB The Show this year, because I am this close to just finally skipping a year and saying enough's enough. Um, I'm not gonna get into microtransactions. That should be at the last of my list, but I am gonna talk about Diamond Dynasty mode first, and that is to fix hitting. So I know a lot of people saying hitting is getting better, but this year was kind of like in the beginning it was horrible. There was times where the pitch speed, where the player, say if the pitch opposing player was using Nolan Ryan on the mound, and Nolan Ryan had tons of issues, but one of the biggest issues was a player throwing probably 95 miles per hour. I mean 99. He's throwing 99 miles per hour, and I'm already swinging early. You know, because when you're playing a Hall of Famer legend, you have to swing early. So if not, you're not going to be able to hit the ball or whatever. There was a lot of instances where I was just pressing X as soon as the ball releases, and I was still getting too late swings, which made absolutely zero sense because I was swinging as soon as the ball was released. So there was a lot of issues with that. Later on in the year, it started getting better. They started fixing some of those things, but another huge issue I was having was actually the physics. I know they worked on the physics, but I believe they from 2018 to 2019 they took a step down with the physics because they were working on it. And I believe 2018 was a better year of them. You had a better chance of hitting a ball into the gap than you did this year. I think the physics was causing that issue where the ball just couldn't find the gap for no reason. Even balls that were absolutely just straight rockets were going straight to the outfielder, and the outfielder had more than enough time to get to any ball that was hit out there. So it was basically like no chance you were getting. I mean, you would get doubles here and there, but basically no chance this year. So I kind of like make it more fair or whatever, like balance it out. Like if I'm, there's sometimes there's balls that are hit, and I know they go with more realism, but sometimes a lot of people's gonna disagree with me on this, but there's sometimes where I'm hitting the ball. There's absolutely zero chance you're gonna get to that ball. The game made it about 70 to 80% chance you're gonna get to that ball. So hopefully they balance that out for next year. But like I said, that's my personal issue. People might think differently on that one. So um, leave packs. So that's another one that I want to see in Diamond Dynasty. So Sony San Diego, what they do is every time there's a program, they have certain packs for that program, and you when that program is over with, that's it. That's the end of those packs, and then you won't see those packs either for towards the end of the season, or they'll bring it back later on in the season. I prefer is Sony San Diego. Like for instance, if there's a pack called Balling is a Habit, where you where there's like a high chance of receiving a diamond player. Diamond player is the best tier you could get in a game. So it goes from diamond to gold to silver, and from bronze, and then common, which is I believe just white. Yes, I think it's diamond, blue, gold, um, silver, bronze, and then I think white. So, but but so in that pack, there's a high chance of pulling the diamond card. I forget the odds or whatever, but there's no way of me buying that pack unless there's programs or whatever. And I wish Sony San Diego would just leave the packs like in there. I want to be able. I believe Madden has that. Where or uh, a lot of other sports games. I don't remember other sports games. I don't play any sports games like that. But some, I believe, Madden. I'm not sure. Um, they'll leave the packs on there. So there's, I mean, it doesn't cost anything to just leave the packs on there. So hopefully they do. But and then, like I said earlier, more storyline missions. They kind of, like I said earlier, they kind of like went away with it in the beginning of the year, and I kind of liked it at first. Towards the end of the year, they brought back the Griffey, but before that, it was just or Willie Mays. No, Willie Mays was in the beginning, and then Griffey. Um, so hopefully they do more storyline missions. I thought those were pretty cool. Um, Conquest Endgame, that towards the end of Conquest for this year was kind of like lame. Like I wanted them to like okay, so once the as the season ends and when they announce the new game, I wanted them to go into the to conquer the whole region map and then put packs, some of those packs in that mode, so we get something to play, and it lasts longer instead of the short map that they had or whatever. So hopefully they fix the conquest and add more things to the end game for conquest, and of course more great legends like try to like I really like my personal people I want in the game is Roberto Clemente, which I know it has to do with licensing issues and try to get their license or whatever, but you making big money now. You could try to go after these guys. Greg Maddox, Randy Johnson, bring back a Big Poppy, um, Pedro Martinez. Players like that who probably have been in the game, but then they probably lost the license to them. So bring in more legends. I know, they brought in Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, a lot of great legends, but there's still plenty of them they could add. So hopefully with 2020, we're definitely gonna see more, and I have no doubt we're gonna see more. Um, the fast pitching, especially playing online Diamond Dynasty where you're playing against somebody else. The people fast pitching you is absolutely ridiculous. You can't even back out because they're just throwing a fastball and they constantly. You can't even do a practice swing or whatever because most of the time you're just sitting right there. The player's already pressing X or he's pressing whatever he's gonna throw. He's tapping it, so just fast pitch you all the time. So there has to be like a certain way of just them fixing that or whatever. And then the lag, they're still slow pitching. So slow pitching is when you're throwing a ball, the for some reason the thing slows down, and then when the ball gets close to the batter, it zooms in. So they definitely need to fix the lag on that. And yeah, so that's all I got for Diamond Dynasty. I'm sure there's a lot more issues. And that's what I'm saying. I wish I would have brought Big T Dog because Big T Dog plays more MLB The Show than I did. I play MLB The Show a lot, but he plays way more than me because I play different games all the time. He plays the same game. Like he only plays sports games, so I would have loved to get him on the channel to talk about more. But then there's a mode that I love playing that he probably don't, and that is creative player. So I had tons of issues with creative players. Tons. Um a big one I know people wanted from last year and they kind of implanted into this game. Or no, the one from last year, which they could implant for this year, is mini games. So kind of like NBA 2K20, you go into the weight room, you run on the treadmill, like side missions like that. They do have a couple side missions, but it's only like little small side missions or mini games you could play. Um, I want MLB The Show to add just more mini games, do track and field or interacting with things. And like in NBA 2K20, you can run around, walk around like a little town or whatever, and like I said, interact. There's like two basketball court or four basketball courts, and you play NBA Park, something like that. So you don't have to do that. Just let us run around like a facility or whatever and like have us do like mini games. I think that would be awesome. Um, Post games, before and post game interviews, I thought would be cool if they had that. They kind of got to that. I know they had a Heidi Whitney who's a reporter. They put her in last year, but she didn't really do anything. I mean, she had a couple like interviews where she would just talk, but sometimes it wasn't even about your creative player. It was about like another player on the team, which I thought it was like, what's the purpose of that? Most of the time, I was skipping regardless. But I would love to have like a post game interview. I thought that would be cool, kind of like NBA 2K20 where they do post game interviews. So that would be cool. Another one would be keep records. Um, Wait, what? Keep records of. Oh, okay. So another one too. So if I'm breaking a record, so most of the time, it kind of pissed me off because I like one record that I'm always breaking, and I'm sorry for pausing on that. My bad on that one, but most of the time, I go for some of the big records like DiMaggio's 50. I think it's 54 game hit streak. I normally go for that, and most of the time I get it. Like every year I always get it. It's cool that they notice that, but most of the time they kind of don't, especially when you officially break the record. So every time you do, so if you keep the streak going, they'll notice in the beginning of the game, but once you officially once you go hitless or whatever and the record ends, then you go again, and then they don't acknowledge that what you did. So that would be cool if they implement that, or the announcers like, man, then here's the guy who's the record for most hits in a season. So have the announcers like be more noticeable with those type of records. Or if I'm breaking the home run, or another one is the most home runs in the league or in the season. I believe Barry Bonds, I believe he has 72, I believe. And so if I'm breaking that every year, and at least have the announcers at least acknowledge it. Or because sometimes, let's be honest, most of us are overpowered because we're constantly playing, we're constantly leveling up. So most of us are hitting 90, 100 home runs in a season. So at least have the announcers at least acknowledge it more, and probably more play for. And this is just in general. No, I'm just gonna leave that for in general, because I do have a general at the end of the list. More customization for the players. So like, it'll be cool. I got tattoos, so it'll be cool if we get have our creative player have tattoos. More customization like that, scars, or just give us more customization with the players. That would be cool. Get called up faster. So, like I said, I hit 50, 60 home runs in a game. I mean, in a season. So, there should be no reason why I had to spend 3 years in the minor leagues, and I'm hitting 50, 60, 70 home runs in the minor leagues. Like, I don't know about you, but if you're hitting 70 home runs in the minor league, you should be called up already. You should be playing in MLB. There should be no reason why you're still in the minor leagues after you just had this phenomenal season. Or, like I said, the DiMaggio, when I'm breaking the DiMaggio records in the minor league, there should be no reason why I'm still in the minor leagues. I should be called up already. And when you do get called up, stop putting us straight to having bench mode. Like, I understand, maybe if you're competing with a big, just for instance, say if you're a shortstop, you're competing with Francisco Lindor. I understand that's still Francisco Lindor, but if I'm hitting 70 home runs in that season, there should be no reason why I'm the one bench and Francisco Lindor is the one playing. It just doesn't make sense. So hopefully they can not fix it, but like change it up a little bit so it makes it more realistic. Um, Another one too. It's so when I play creative player, I normally, because growing up when I was a kid, when I would play fast pitching or t-ball, whatever, I mostly was a catcher position. So I would always pick catcher, and I just want more free control with catcher. So like, um, most of the time I notice too when I'm playing, if a runner has a huge lead off, and you can tell, because most of the time you could tell that they want that the runner's gonna steal, so they want you to try to throw him out. I want to be able as a catcher to call a pickoff, because there's a lot of times where, like, say D Gordon is leading off, and I know he's gonna steal, and it's almost impossible to throw him off because he has 98, 97 speed, and 98 stealing. So, and it's almost impossible to throw him out because he has that huge lead off, and I can't do anything about it. And if you have a pitcher who has a slow wind up, he's 100% most of the time gonna steal the base. So I kind of wish there's a way I could press the button to have him, me as a catcher, press the button to have him pick off the runner, throw a pick off. So to me, that's kind of like a minor little thing. But it's annoying too because sometimes it ruins my stats, like my fielding or whatever, and I hate it so much. Like I said, pitch hitting. I'm tired of the pitch hitting. That throwing me into these random games. It's just too much of that. Especially like I said, I go for the hit streak all the time, and sometimes they should give me an option of whether I should be called on or shouldn't be called on. So like if I don't want to be in that game, I should have there should be an option of me like not going into the game, or I know you could stimulate the game to next appearance, But if he goes hitless in the game, and I stimulate that, it counts towards my hit streak. So they should definitely fix that. I hate that too. Um, um, More interactions with the front office. I really wanted them to implement that the most, because I like, if I'm requesting a trade, I want to request to a certain team, or I want to talk about my call up, because like I said, if I'm hitting 70, 80 home runs in minor leagues, I want to be able to have a talk with the front office, the general manager, and be like, hey man, I'm not liking this thing where I'm still in the minor leagues or whatever. And a lot of people was asking for that last year too. So, and then probably more talks with my agent, because, like, let's be honest, like I said, if you're having putting up those huge monster numbers, there should be no reason why the team would be offering you 1,500,000 for the contract. It just doesn't make sense. Like, most players should be getting paid way more than that. And I know you don't get the stubs, but it's just the thoughts that counts or whatever. So that's a huge one. So like I said, so going on from that, just gonna talk about like more animations, or just in general. Um, like I said, online franchise, give the people what they want. They want online franchise, give it to them. Another one too was more cool looking animations, especially like for diving for the balls, the same generic, just dive, catch it, roll, get back up. Make it more crazier or whatever. I think that would be cool. Um, More crazy home run celebrations. And I would love to, because they kind of did it. Sometimes where you were hit a home run, go into the dugout, and have like a little following, like a normal, when you're watching a normal game and go into the dugout. Most team have certain celebration, most players, so have that type of thing where they go in there, have a little celebration. I know the Cubs do their I guess they dance in the dugout or whatever. More things like that. One Pacific player and certain players do this, like do their animations. Like one we seen last year in the playoffs with Juan Soto, kind of like taunting the pitcher when the pitcher would throw a ball. Definitely want to see his little motion or whatever. He kind of like taunts the pitcher, does this weird little crazy little move or whatever. And most pitcher hit that, which is surprising. He has to get plunked more for that, but I want to see more of that. More players doing their like warm ups or whatever. I think that would be cool. Um, One little minor thing that I kind of have an issue is like mound visits. So this is kind of like a minor thing, but kind of bothers me a lot. When I'm doing a mound visit, most of the time when you do mound visits, the actual coach comes out there and talks to you. It's kind of like a minor thing, because most of the time in real life, the coach is not gonna come out unless something's really wrong, or he's taking out the pitcher to put in a new pitcher. Most of the time, what they do is they send the pitching coach and or the catcher. So I want to be able to have an option to where I'm sending out the catcher to to calm down my guy. Like, hey, because sometimes when you're playing a game, your pitcher lose command, so you have to go out there, talk to him, and sometimes you could either lose confidence or gain confidence. So I want to be able to not send out my manager, or my manager yet, or my coach, and no, my manager. I don't want to be able to send out my manager. I want to be able to send out my pitching coach or my catcher. And I know this year they kind of shortened in real life, they shortened the mound visits, so let's do that also. Make it more realistic. But that's kind of a minor thing that doesn't really matter. Um, like I said, more customizations. Um, Especially with like your favorite team, want to be able to customize jerseys or whatever. I thought that would be cool, not just for Diamond Dynasty, but with all modes. I should be able to do that. Play by play. So I want to be so it got real repetitive with the play by play this year or last year with DeRosa, Vescursion, and Plezak. They got real repetitive. They were saying the same things over and over again, and it got tiresome real quick. I know a lot of people, they don't even listen to the play by play anymore because, like I said, they get real repetitive and sometimes they kind of piss you off with some of the things that they say. So, I want them to make it sound like a more realistic baseball game. I know NBA 2K20, most of the time they're just having conversations, they're just talking. Sometimes they're talking about completely different things, not even about the game, but more of that. And you 2K NBA 2K fans out there probably won't like this channel because I talk crap about your game, but I know most of you 2K fans who do play 2K, um, I know you guys know that the most uh, where what's his name, Kevin McHale, where he talks about I think it's Kevin McHale. I forgot who does the 2K announcers, but he talks about a lot of different things or whatever, and you're like, what the hell are you even talking about, man? So more of that. Just give us play by play. Make it sound like a more realistic game instead of the same over conversations we hear all the time, and the same like knock on one sentence knockoffs we always hear. Um, the Empire calling is ridiculous. So I want to be able to hit my spots. I want to be able to hit the tape and sometimes call it a strike or whatever. You rarely see that in this game. Most of the times where it's barely hitting the zone, especially the corners or whatever. They get called balls more than they do strikes, and that it shouldn't be like that. It should be more realistic. Where sometimes where I want to be able to paint the corners, and and I can't do that because the umpires is calling balls all the time. So hopefully they fix that. That's kind of like a minor thing too. Um, let's see. All the warming up the bullpen. So if I have a guy who's scheduled to pitch, I want to be able to warm up another player in his position. So I know they lock it down to two players. So if you're putting in, let's say, Billy Wagner, if you're putting in Billy Wagner, you already have two guys warming up already, and one of them is Billy Wagner. There's no way of warming up another guy until you put Billy Wagner in, which it kind of annoys me because I want to. Sometimes I like to, because I'm a big bullpen guy. So if I'm going into the seventh and the eighth, I wanted to have my two setup guys go in there, and and sometimes I don't even like using um, other pitchers or whatever. So I kind of warm two people up just in case if he struggles, I got another person to back him up. So if I already have a person scheduled to pitch, I want to be able to put in another guy. So I don't know if that's a certain rule in baseball or whatever, but I want to be able to do that. But like I said, minor issue for me personally. I want to be able to challenge plays. So I want to be able to challenge first, second, third, home. I want to be able to challenge it. Um, there was a lot of times, especially last year, a lot of times where there's a close play at second, and most of the times I thought I was safe and I can't challenge it, and the umpire called me out. There was a lot of times where I had videos saved of sometimes the umpire not even looking, like looking a different way. The play's happening, he just turns around, just throws his little sign for saying you're out or whatever, and it's like it pissed me off. I want to be able to challenge it. Hopefully they do that. Um, but I know most of the time you can't even challenge first. Most of the time, I know it was like trigger. It would trigger if it was a super close play and they called it out. It would trigger. You could do the challenge, but rarely will you be able to challenge anything. But I do want to be able to challenge the plays, and but that was about it. That's all I had for that. So if I know if I see any of those changes, big major changes, maybe I would definitely think about buying MLB The Show 20. But as of right now, I'm still kind of undecided, so I'm just gonna watch the streams, um, see how everything plays out. But as far as I know, that's about it. Um, that's all I got for you guys for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. And if you guys are thinking about purchasing MLB The Show 20, what are some of your big major issues? What you wish they want to change? Um, leave it in the comment section below. If this is your first time in this channel, like, subscribe. Normally we talk about video games, unboxing videos. Speaking of unboxing videos, might get back to doing it tomorrow. So be prepared for those videos tomorrow, and or by the time you see this video up, you guys just see, But anyways, you guys have a wonderful day, and see you guys later.